Welcome to the Love That For Us podcast.
Come hang out with us as we explore a holistic approach to entrepreneurship, wellness, and navigating relationships in adulthood.
We'll be getting vulnerable about life and dishing the business expertise we've learned along the way, interviewing industry professionals,
All while you get your weekly dose of girl talk and heart-to-hearts. We're your hosts, Charissa Emiko,
and Ashtyn Brooke.
and this is the Love That For Us podcast.
Welcome back to the Love That For Us podcast. Hi, Charissa.
Hi, Ash.
How are you? Catch us up.
I'm good. We both are, not just me. We are getting ready to go to Mexico. I leave Saturday, you leave Sunday, right? So through our company, we earned a trip. So I get to bring Tyler, Ashtyn gets to bring Will. We're going on an all expenses paid trip. We're so excited.
I am so excited. I haven't been on a all-inclusive resort week-long trip since our honeymoon.
Whoa. That's a long
It's a
time.
long
How long have you been married?
A long time. Literally 9 years.
I was like, did you forget the years?
No. But 9 years. We're so excited to have a full week of freaking vacation.
I know,
Very
same.
ready.
So the trip we earned technically starts Monday, but we're going a little bit earlier. Oh my gosh, we tell them about how we're scared if Will and Tyler are going to be friends.
Oh,
okay.
my gosh.
Oh my God. Will and Tyler have never met. And we are I'm so nervous.
I know.
I don't know
I
why
think
I'm
you're
so
more nervous
nervous
than I am. But
I'm tenfold more nervous than you because I'm like, I just got to relax. Because if I put too much pressure on it, they're literally going to meet and I'm going to be
staring
at them. Do you like
do you
him?
guys like each other? This is what Will does when he makes me food. He stares at me until I take a bite and then he's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I need to not feel like there's pressure to react and respond to the taste
That's
of your
going to be
food.
me though. They're going to meet and I'm going to be like, what do you think? Tell me what you think.
I think there's pressure. I don't know why. Because you've met Will and love him. I've met Tyler and love him. I genuinely think they have things in common. What is that face you're making? I said you've met Will and like him, and then you go,
No, that wasn't what the face was at. That wasn't what the face was at. I'm fucking love Will. That wasn't what the face was at. That's the stress. That is the stress. You just described the stress. Is you and me, great. You, me, and Tyler, great. You, me, and Will, great. Tyler and Will, question mark. You, me, Tyler, and Will, question mark. That's the question mark. That's the stress. Is I don't know.
We want them to be pals. That at the end of the day, we're just dying for them to be pals.
Here's what I'm realizing right now. I'm figuring it out. I need to let go of the idea or thought that they're going to be as close as we are because that's unrealistic.
They're not. They're just
that's not. And if that happens, wow, what a great shiny red cherry on top. But that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a good I needed that.
It's okay
that was a good realization.
if they're not best friends. I genuinely know they're going to get along though.
I know. And they have stuff in common.
I know.
Especially music. I feel like if
Yeah.
two guys do music, it's the end. They're going to talk about that forever. I don't know.
I also think they're going to
funny.
have kind of similar senses of humor. I think we've talked, we have dissected our partners and why they should or should not get along. And Charissa, you've always been Tyler has such an odd sense of humor.
That was it. You changed my words because you're trying to be nicer.
No.
Tyler. Oh, okay. So sorry, babe, if you're listening to this. He knows it's true. Tyler can just be a dick. And it's funny. He's being funny. But when Tyler makes a joke, it's for literally nobody else but him. He doesn't care if nobody in the room laughs. He will be laughing all by himself. And he kind of has a twisted, dark, sense of humor.
And I think that Will is going to love it. And they're just going to feed off of each other because Will has all brothers. He knows exactly that type of I don't know. That's just how they treat each other and talk to each other. And so Will just joins right in and
it's going to be great.
We have to keep everyone posted now.
It's gonna be
So
great.
hopefully it's
What if
fine.
we have to keep everyone posted and what if we're like they hated each other?
They're not
It went
going to.
horrible. We had to fly home early. No.
Oh, right. So anyways, the 4 of us are meeting up like a day early together to hang out.
Yes. Which is great. I think that's great.
Yeah. I'm
Do I
excited.
think it's great? Okay, it's great. So I'm packing. That's what's new. I've got to pack soon. I used to have the worst packing anxiety and I would stay up really late the night before. And now usually start packing 2 full days before, which is like, can I just like pat myself
You
on the back?
have
Like
so much growth.
life changed. Literally all my panic attacks. Well, no, that's not true. Not all my panic attacks were when I packed, but every time I packed, I had a panic attack. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen anymore. So praise. And then let's give a packing tip because I'm in the mood. Okay, I feel like I don't know if most women do this, but if you don't do this, it's so helpful. You try on your clothes ahead of time and then you take pictures of your outfit and then you have them in your phone and then it takes all the guesswork out of like what you need to bring, what you want to wear. Like when you're on vacation, you literally just get to look at your phone and like it's a little outfit avatar and just like pick it and try it on. It's so easy. And I save all of these outfits in an outfits album in my phone so that if I'm really just like, what do I want to wear today? I can look at this outfits album and it's easy.
It is, in my humble opinion, equally genius and equally extra.
Thank you and thank you. I receive both and take
Good.
both as compliments.
Good. Okay, so good for you. You're packing early, and I love that
Yes.
for you.
Okay, catch us up. What's going on with you?
Also preparing for Mexico.
Yes.
I am super nervous. I don't know why I did this. I scheduled my first bikini wax
For what day?
Thursday.
Okay. You've never been waxed before?
Never. Not
Oh
once.
my God.
Nowhere.
Okay. What is it, Brazilian? Are you doing like the
No.
full? What are you doing?
I'm
Just
gonna
like
ease on
but
it.
like the strip
Bikini
like the
wax.
bikini,
Yeah.
like strictly the
Bikini.
lines.
We're gonna be in our swimsuits all week.
Totally.
I
Okay, wait. If you're
am
just
so
doing
scared.
if you're just doing bikini, I feel like you're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
didn't
like
want
you're
to
gonna be fine.
like go full in. I don't even know if I'll ever do that, but yeah, so I'm a newbie, 30 years old, never have done that, and it just
That's
felt like the time.
wild. I have only gotten waxed one time, and I did a full Brazilian because I'm a psychopath, and it was horrible. I mean, okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm not trying to scare you. Let me rewind.
What
Well,
was horrible?
it's gonna hurt. I mean, it's literally gonna hurt. You're like getting hair ripped off. But
Oh
if
my
you're
gosh.
just doing bikini,
I regret this already.
I'm sorry, but if you're just doing bikini, like they waxed my asshole because I did a Brazilian. Like
That is
that's
so
gnarly. Like that's
I
gnarly.
literally have no interest in that.
No. So if you're just doing bikini, I say more power to you. Go for it.
I'm scared.
I'm excited for you. So this is a good life experience.
I don't
for
know if I
you.
will report back on this one, but maybe.
I think I'm gonna need you to report back on this one because it's your first wax. Okay, and I've had laser and I love laser and I will never get waxed ever again. It's just also, prepare for this. Let me give you a hot tip. You sweat. Like you get like hot and like sweaty because your body's like your
Stressed.
body's in stress. Yeah, like you're like I'm in pain. Like
Why
so
am I
just
doing this?
like don't wear like a sweater in
Okay,
there.
I'm not a
Do you know what I
sweaty
mean?
person, but I will take that advice.
Yeah. I feel like an average sweaty person, like an average amount, and I was like dripping sweat and hot. I was hot.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So just don't wear a sweater and you'll be fine.
There's a good chance this is one and done for me. I'm never doing it again.
Well, I'm excited to hear how it goes.
Thank you. Thanks. Are you do you have any current obsessions? Like we kind of want to incorporate this a little bit on the podcast. Like what's a product or something you're loving? Could be a wide range of options, but is there something that you're currently obsessed with?
Yes, it's on my lips right now. I'll come
Mm.
closer to the
Oh my
camera.
gosh, I love. It's
Okay,
gorgeous.
it's Merit's lip oil. I've never tried. I just bought 3 lip oils like last week. You bought one when I was with you, and that's what piqued my interest initially.
Oh yeah.
And they do feel so much better than a gloss. Like
Mhm.
they're different. A lip oil is different than a gloss. So I'm obsessed. I've been wearing them literally every day. They feel so good. They're not sticky. They're pretty.
That is your color right now that you're wearing. Like your lips look perfect.
Thank you. I have Glossier Generation G underneath in the color Fuzz. And then I have Merit's lip oil in the color Au Natural, I think, over it. Obsessed.
It is working for you.
Quite obsessed. What about you?
I finally got my hands. I know I'm like so behind the times, but on like Osea products,
Oh, yeah.
their algae body oil is incredible.
It's so good.
I'm bringing it to Mexico. Like I need to bathe in it. I love it. It smells incredible. It's like the best. I mean, really, really
It's
good
so
ingredients.
good.
It smells amazing. I have been using it like on my arms, and you know how you get those little like bumpies on the back of your
Yes.
arm? They're like basically
Smooth. You
gone. My
smooth
arms are
baby.
so smooth except for this one random hair that I'm feeling right now. Ew. Do you ever get like random long hairs on the back here? They're like 3 a year, but like I've just found one. Oh my gosh, it's so
only
gross.
happened to me a couple of times. I have a really
Oh,
gross story. Do you want to hear it?
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
It's about an arm hair. Well, this is what it made me think of because that's only happened to me one time. But it was like in my upper arm. What's this part of your arm called?
Like your
not
bicep?
Yeah, sure, that one. And it was like a white hair. It was like probably like an inch long,
Oh.
sticking out of my arm, and it was white, and it was like coarse, like it was a coarse
Yeah.
hair. This is literally so disgusting. And I went to like pluck it, like a little. You think you're just plucking done. I pulled it, and it went tick, 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 tick. And it got like, I shit you not, it was like, I'm sorry, is this too gross?
I think you've told me this before.
It was the trippiest experience. Like, because it wasn't like there was a bump there, like an ingrown hair vibe. It was
Oh my
just
gosh,
a
it's
hair.
like giving me the
I know. Sorry. It was like kind of cool, kind of creepy. Definitely like it freaked me out. But I literally got it to probably like 10 inches. Not kidding. One white,
That
coarse,
sounds
long
like
hair.
scary. Like health wise? Question mark.
Well,
Now I'm
no,
feeling
I
this
think I'm
hair on my
fine.
arm. I'm distracted.
Sorry.
It's like I can't believe I just felt that.
I'm sorry.
Osea body oil though,
Anyway,
amazing and highly recommend. I've been venturing into their products and I so far and their body butter like oh my gosh.
It smells so good. Like
incredible.
That smell, I just want to like bathe in that smell.
I do. So
and then wait, I have a question too. I have heard people pronounce that company so many different ways.
I heard them pronounce it.
Oh, you did? And they said
Osea.
Osea, like the sea.
Yeah.
Like the sea.
Osea.
Okay. That's good to know. I was going to say, I've heard people say OSHA. I've heard people say
Can they sponsor us?
Osea. We'll say your name right.
We will. That would be such a fun company. So yeah, that's really our catch up and our current obsessions.
Yeah.
We are talking today about messy action and doing it messy. And why, Charissa, did we choose this topic?
Because we have done this for our podcast, and let me start by saying Ashtyn is so much better at this than I am. Like one could say I lightly lean towards perfectionist.
Just slightly.
And Ashtyn is just like, let's freaking go, like get it done. Who cares? Like just like throw it up. And so I think we balance each other out in that, but we've definitely done this podcast, quote unquote, messy. Like there's been so much where we're just like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Like it doesn't need to be perfect. We can make it better. Like even just like my background right now, like this is not, if I could just pick a background, this wouldn't be it. But who cares? Here we are. We're doing it anyway.
Our cover photo we like is a
Oh my
perfect
gosh.
example. We like have these plans. We like want to do the whole branding shoot, and we finally decided like what would we even wear, and we bought these
The
like
amount of hours
it's
that
so
we
stupid.
spent screen sharing on Zoom, like the outfit, like the color, like oh, hours. Like I would
And then
literally
got
say,
nowhere because we couldn't decide on
no,
anything. So we were together in Utah, and someone took a photo of us in like the basement of this bar with a flash, and like it's not even in focus all the way. And then we're like, well, let's use this. And
let's
like,
use this. We went to Free People that day and we bought matching jumpsuits, not necessarily to match, but because they were just both cute on both of
yeah,
us. And you
we
guys
were,
know when you take a photo, like you hand someone a phone and they take photos of you and your best friend, you want like 50 pictures to choose like the best one.
someone out there is like, I cannot relate.
And we have one photo and we are like, let's just use it and photo shoot season 2
Yeah,
podcast.
season 2. But I oh gosh, I know we're going to say this so much, but I really do love it for us that we just are like jumping in, and
Me
I'm very
too.
proud of you because it is not your nature to just be like, okay, let's wing it, and like we can figure it out as we go. We can bring people along on like our branding shoot and whatever. But there comes a point where like we just have to start and do it and commit to it and not worry about every detail lining up perfectly. Otherwise, you won't freaking start anything. And so we just kind of want to share like some thoughts, answer some questions, our own experiences about messy action because we've run multiple businesses. And I think it's so important for business owners and even in like day to day life, if you can kind of mingle the two together, messy action is going to it's going to excel you as a business owner. And I think also for people who are just generally more like you, Carissa, are on the side of perfectionists, like it just kind of helps if you're like, okay, I value doing things messy. It's better done and messy than like never done and trying to be perfect.
Right. Okay, so expand on that. Like, why do you think it's important for business owners to have what I actually think, ironically, you could call messy action a skill because a lot of it is your mindset around just like putting something out there and like not being afraid for it to not be everything and more that you imagine, but just to like take that first step and start. So, like, why do you think that that's a skill that is so important for business owners?
Well, a lot of business owners are making decisions emotionally, especially if you're like a personal creative entrepreneur. Like you put so much stock into like, well, are people going to receive this? Am I going to be successful? Like there's so much fear because our emotions are always like riding shotgun, and that can hold people back because of so many of our beliefs about ourselves and our capabilities as business owners. And we'll always find a way to talk ourselves out of like doing the next thing or experimenting or trying something that's new. And instead, if you can look at messy action as something super valuable and it's going to serve you and it's going to teach you something, then you're actually going to start and try and experiment. And the fact of the matter is, as business owners, you're never going to do things perfect. You're supposed to learn, you're supposed to grow, you're supposed to like trial and error things. And a lot of that just starts with like one foot in front of the other, doing things, even if it's not perfect. Like there's value in learning the lesson, and there's
Yeah.
value in just trying something new and trusting the process. Like every business owner has started somewhere without the full knowledge of where it's going to go or how it's going to turn out. But
Mm-hmm.
the difference between maybe like you and someone you look up to is they just took the first step, whether it was like perfectly planned out and all the details were in a line and all the stars aligned for them. Like they probably just began. And
Right.
that often requires messy action. And the key word is action. Like we're actually doing something. So for you and I, we've talked about a podcast for like months now, and we zoomed forever about like what are we going to call it and what do we want it to be about. And like we we can talk all day long about our ideas for it, but some one day I was just like, Carissa, I want us to pick a date and like start planning it and start like making things happen, we have to learn about the software. We have to like make a cover photo and pick branding colors, which is super fun, but we just have to like actually
Start. We
begin.
have to start, right? And that's something that, so when I started my web design business, you and Tyler both separately had given me that advice, like pick a launch date, like literally just pick a date. And if you're listening and you have some creative project or you have a business idea or anything like that that is like in the works and you need something to just kind of like light a fire under your ass to push it forward, pick a freaking date. Like literally
Mhm.
pick a date. It will launch into the world. And here's the thing, even if it doesn't actually launch that day, like let's say like whatever things happen, snafus, is that a word?
Yeah.
Snafus? Yeah, okay. Am I using it right? Snafus happen.
Mhm.
Things happen. And let's just say like it doesn't work out. The amount of steps that you took to launch that business, to launch that project, is going to be way more steps than if you had never picked that date, because it really just does start that action. I think so much about being a business owner, an entrepreneur, having a side hustle, anything like that, is that like you just have to keep going. You have to keep taking these forward steps. And messy action is something that propels you forward. Perfectionism is something that keeps you back. Like when you, if you just like let the word perfection sink into your body for a second, like what are you feeling? You feel this like lean away. You're like, I'm not like there's a tense, like, right? But if you're like, I'm allowed to be messy, you feel looser and you're like, I can go forward. I can do things. There's almost even just like an empowerment of owning your messy action of like, yeah, we're like, I mean, this podcast right here, we're like, we're doing this messy. And like, that kind of feels good to even tell you guys that we're
Mhm.
doing this messy. There's a freedom that just comes up for me and probably you, Ash. I don't want to speak for you, but it's like, ooh, that feels good to say, like, yeah,
Mhm.
we're doing this messy because now, like, everybody listening, everybody watching, like, you don't have an expectation that we're gonna have all our shit together or have everything be perfect, because we're just owning that this is how we do things, and we'd rather
Yeah.
like take these forward steps and not necessarily know how everything's gonna turn out perfectly or have a plan, because what we care about is that we're actually taking these forward steps towards our goals and what we're wanting. And that's what messy action's all about, is it's like getting you closer to your goals, getting you closer to what you want. Maybe it's not going to be in the prettiest or most perfect way, but like also, is that even the best way? Like, because like the things that come out, the things that are born because of messy action is like, is things that wouldn't necessarily be born if you were like doing everything to a T and making sure everything is
Right.
perfect. You know what
Like
I mean?
things are meant to evolve. And if you start something, launch something, and it's perfect right at the gate, it's like, okay, well, then what's the process you're enjoying? Because
Right.
we've both developed and rebranded and changed things and learned things and like implemented along the way and created better systems. And like that's honestly the point, I think, of like entrepreneurship and a lot of things in life, that we can miss out on the process and the enjoyment of the process when we're putting all this pressure on like perfect right from the beginning and there's no room for error. It's like, no, they're just like embrace error, invite error. And like, it's not so
Right.
scary. It's actually so important and valuable for day to day business decisions. Like, I think there's such a, I mean, I talked about this in therapy some last year, was just like this concept of being wrong. Like, being wrong felt so, it's like this message and belief I have. It's like, it's so wrong to be, it's so scary to be wrong. And there's so much
Mm-hmm.
consequence to being wrong. And it's just not a real, it's not realistic to avoid being wrong in relationship and business. Like that's just part of it. And so when you say that out loud and you kind of recognize that for what it is, there's the power is taken away from this whole like fear of like, what if I'm wrong? It's like, okay, then you're wrong. Like, welcome
Right.
to humanity.
Right. Totally. Okay. How do you feel it? Because I think I've always witnessed you do messy action really well in business. Like, how would you say? Because we're saying it's a skill, right? Like it's not just about business. Like, how do you use messy action in your personal life, and how has that served you there?
Yeah, I definitely lean toward messy action because I'm just not a perfectionist. And I like things to be nice and well done and all of that. But like, I mean, my most recent example would just be like DIY. Like, we bought this house and I'm like, I want to.
But like, it's not DIY. You say, what do you
Oh,
say?
I call it DIYB, which stands for
Which
do it your best.
which I literally love that so much. Like, you are such a house inspiration to me to DIY to DI me to do
You
it
got,
my best
yeah,
to
you
do it
got
my
that.
best.
Yeah, like just do it your best. People will like never start a project in their house that they want to do because they're like, what if I mess up? Like, ugh. Don't look too closely at my projects. They're not prim and proper, but I love the process. I'm learning so much and I feel so empowered. Like it is intimidating to take on doing concrete countertops and I'm not even done with them, but like you learn and there's so much available online to learn new things, to learn new business skills. And so, yeah, for me, I'm just like, I'm going to figure out how to retile my bathroom. And I ask people and like, I just try and attempt. And if I mess up, like I'll get professional help if I really need it. So I think applying that to my house has been like my most recent, like real life outside of business type messy action that I can think of. What about you?
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day, knowing honestly that we had this episode coming up and my room was super messy. And I wanted to clean it all, but I'm the type of person that like will kind of let things get messy and then I'll like binge clean, like sometimes binge rage clean. Like you're just like, like, and you need everything to be clean like right now. And I was kind of overwhelmed with our room. I had some laundry, I had stuff on my dresser, stuff on my nightstand. And I was so tired and I was going to bed and I was going to not clean anything because I couldn't clean everything. And I literally like because we had this episode coming and I knew I was just my head was on messy action that like the last few days was like I'm just going to clean my nightstand really really well. Like and I cleared my nightstand and I like even like wiped it down and like cleaned it
Mm.
too, not just like cleared it off. And like, let me tell you that feeling. Like, it felt so good. I don't know. I was like so proud of myself because typically I would be like, if I can't do all of it perfectly, I'm going to do none of it. And that's obviously, that's what we kind of want to get away from when we're talking about messy action here. And I cleaned off the nightstand. I went to bed on my side staring at my clean nightstand.
Wow, that's so
And I
peaceful.
felt it was so peaceful. And it was like the thing closest to my head going to bed. And
Mhm.
it just felt, I think too, speaking of that, like the confidence that I got, like that, right? Like I think messy action does that too, where instead of maybe like sitting there and shaming myself for like not making the time to clean my whole room or like that it got messy in the first place or anything like that, like making the decision to just do a part of it, even though I couldn't do it all perfectly, like I was proud of myself. I left that experience like proud of myself. I felt good. I felt better in my space. And messy action totally does that. It again, you're taking those forward steps. So you're able to look back and be like, look what I just did. Look at those steps I took. It does get you closer to your goal. And that builds a self-trust and a confidence that really like propels you even further in your business or in your personal life or whatever you're doing. And
You really built trust with yourself,
I really built trust with myself with
which
that
is
little
so
nightstand.
that's so important. I'm like really trying to notice where I'm building trust because
Yeah.
I feel like I know you to be someone who, yeah, you kind of like let things build and then you're like, I've got to get this done.
Yeah.
Instead of like trusting yourself, like I can do 5 minutes of something and it's going to create a pocket of peace that serves
Yes.
me right now and is valuable to me. And like I don't have to do it all. And I think that's just like good, uh, I don't know, like adult behavior skills. Is that a
And
term?
it is totally a term. And it reminds me too, when you said 5 minutes, like Tyler started doing this thing, I think a year ago, where so when we have a goal, right? You might have like a really big goal in mind. And I think sometimes we can like we have a goal, we have a dream, and it feels so big. It feels like, you're looking at all these things it takes to get there, and that feels overwhelming. And then you can get in this like analysis paralysis where it's really hard to take that next step or the next action because you're just overthinking or looking at like, whoa, look at everything I have to do to reach my goal. So Tyler plays guitar, and he, instead of saying, I'm going to practice an hour a day every single day, which is like maybe something you would think, oh, that would be a good like daily practice to have if you're somebody that wants to continue to get really good at guitar, right? Oh, yeah, if you do an hour a day, you're going to like soar, right? He decided to do 5 minutes a day of guitar. And I was like, and he told me that, and I was like, interesting. But what happened was he ended up doing a lot more than that because his goal was 5 minutes a day, which was so attainable and so reachable that he was able to build that trust and self-confidence with himself, where he would sit down every single night because it wasn't overwhelming. He would sit down every single night and say, I'm just going to play for 5 minutes. And if he was in the zone or flowing or whatever, he would play for an hour, sometimes 2 hours. And if he had a really long day and was really tired or whatever, he would just play for 5 minutes and he still reached his goal. And I feel like that goes alongside messy action so much because it's like, it doesn't have to be this perfect, big, overwhelming, impressive,
Like mountain to
thing.
climb.
Like, right. Yeah. This thing that you're accomplishing, it can be little baby steps. It can be something not done perfect. And that is going to build so much more self-trust, which that's where your self-esteem comes from. That's where your confidence comes from, is when you prove things to yourself.
Yes. Like growing confidence, like I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. I've heard that theory, and like, I don't know who's teaching it online or like in their books or whatever, but I have heard that. And I've really tried to apply that to like my gym experience this year. Is like, I say I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to start to go. I'm actually going to build trust with myself more than I'm going to the gym, just by showing up and being the person I said I want to be. I'm actually developing, like you said, like confidence in myself. And that's where you start to feel so much better about like, no one else can provide that for you. Like, I think so many people are stuck in like, well, I said I wanted to form this habit, but like I haven't done it. And you feel really down on yourself. And then like you don't break out of that cycle.
Right.
And that's such a perfect example. It's like you said a really attainable thing, like 5 minutes a day, or going to the gym even 2 times a week. And then you can build from there because you're building trust, and your brain hasn't connected that trust like with what you're doing and what you're acting on. So something as far as like messy action, if that's in your personal life or your business, you probably need to set the bar fairly low and just build trust with yourself. Like I really, I heard this all the time with like photographers or people doing like affiliate marketing or social media. It's like, I'm not good at showing my face on the camera, and that feels really scary. And you have this idea that you need to show up perfectly instead of just like messy action. Like just start doing it and build trust with yourself, because you are going to get better at it, and it is going to be less scary, and you are going to build that muscle that is not strong right now. And that messy action is going to propel you into trust with yourself, confidence for yourself. And that's where like the power lies. And I think so many people are just missing out on like that trust building that messy action really does provide. And that's like outside of our personal life. You and I don't know what your business experience is with like messy action, but that is actually a huge part of my story with building a business, is just like showing up and like doing stuff without like necessarily a plan in place. And I'm not like promoting like don't plan anything, but that is more my personality, and it has served me well. And I think people should talk about that a little bit more. Like not planning everything out can serve the people like me who we could overthink things or we could talk ourselves out of it. And it's just like, I'm just going to show up, and like things will kind of develop naturally as I find my way. So shout out to the people who just don't plan and aren't perfectionists, but like we still have that limiting belief, and we still tell ourselves those lies that keep us from doing things. Like messy action serves people like me as well. What about you in business? Like, can you, I can't even think of something other than this podcast.
Thanks. You're like, can you think of any time you've ever done anything messy in business? Because I can't.
Low-key.
Okay. Let me think. give me a second. Honestly, I would say launching Soulbright Studios was the beginning of me really seeing and experiencing the benefit of messy action. Um, the tutorial videos, remember like the panic I had about my tutorial videos?
Yes.
So Lord, the panic I had. So I sell show it website templates, and I was launching like the launch of everything, my website and the template shop and all the things. And my templates come with tutorials on how to customize your template so that I walk you through the whole process. And I didn't have them filmed or done or edited or anything like the night before my launch. And I was like gonna pull an all-nighter, and I was like debating all these things. And I remember calling Ashtyn and being like, I don't know what to do. I can't launch. Like this isn't done. Like this is such an important part of whatever. I was just like really freaking out. And you were like, what if you just launch and tell people they're going to be done later? And I was like, I was like, I don't even know what I said to you, but I was probably like annoyed that you were right about it. And I did, and I launched, and like none of the videos were done, but all I had to do was like I put it in like their terms, and I put it on the website like tutorial videos will be ready by blank. And then I was able to launch and sleep the night before my launch and like be a healthy human. And that was a huge lesson for me. Like that really was, because there were so many things about my website even that like weren't perfect and weren't how I wanted it. And again, the freedom when you accept that things are allowed to grow and evolve, and not only allowed, but like people love a good story. People
Love a
love to watch.
transformation.
Oh, people love to watch your process. People love to see the growth and be taken along from the beginning.
And
And
why do
it,
you think that is?
because it's
It's
relatable.
relatable.
It's real. It's literally real. They're like, oh, you grew. Oh, you didn't always have it together. Like, those are the stories that people want to hear
Want
and see
and
and relate
need.
to.
Like people
Right.
need that. If you are listening and you're like, I've wanted to start a podcast, and it's like, join the club. We did not know anything, and we just made moves. It's like you can do it, and you don't have to have an entire photo shoot set up so that you have the perfect cover art. Like that just doesn't really
Right.
matter. And I think we put so much stock into like this has to be so tied together. And I think what's hard is the world of the internet is like we're consuming so much, and so we
So
see so
much.
much like quote unquote perfection, because people are putting out, people who are like 10 steps ahead of us are putting out their best, work. And so then we're like applying our step 1, but we're looking at their step 10 being like, I can't do that.
Right.
It's
And
a big fat
we
lie.
think that to have what they have, we have to do it how they do it, or we have to do what they're doing right now. And we take away the other person's process and journey. And like, if we could just see that like everyone's freaking on a journey, like no one's at the destination yet. Right. And like, we're all just learning as we go. Again, there's so much freedom in that. Like, and expansion, like expansion lives there, because if you think about like you want to get better at something, even if you want to get perfect at something, like how do you get there? It's not by not doing it till you're perfect at it. That literally makes literally no sense. Like that doesn't make any sense. You have to do it. You have to trial and error. You have to fall and get back up to see how to do it better next time. Like that's literally how you grow. And there's no opportunity for growth like that if you're only showing up when you feel perfect or put together or everything's right, right? Like
Yeah.
you touched on people, maybe if you have a business where you have a presence on social media, that's really scary for a lot of people to show their face to the camera and talk to the camera for the first time. And we work with a lot of people in network marketing who are terrified to turn the camera onto themselves. And I always tell people it doesn't get easier by not doing it. The only
Right.
way it gets easier is by doing it. And there's no magic trick. There's nothing you can do before you turn your phone on, before you start recording, that's going to make you feel more confident. What's going to make you feel more confident is the repetition of it. And then it's soon going to become second nature. And we want so badly for there to be something that makes it easier. And that perfectionism of like, I need to be good at this before I start. I need my hair and makeup done before I turn the camera on. I need my house to be clean before I record an Instagram story. Like, that is perfectionism. It's roadblocking this for you. It's a false idea because perfectionism is that nothing's perfect, right? It's literally a false idea that keeps us safe, quote unquote, keeps us safe and protects us. Like, that ultimately, I think, is what perfectionism is doing at the end of the day. Is it's like, for me at least, probably masking this fear of like failure, this fear of people thinking I'm not impressive, this fear of people thinking I don't have it all together or whatever. Like, if I can put something out into the world, and this is a lot of like my inner child work of my inner child like needs to feel impressive. I need to be the good girl. I need everybody to say, wow, she's so mature. Wow, whatever. Wow, right? I need to impress people. And so that's where a lot of my perfectionism was born, was in that. And I think if we can just tell ourselves like we don't need to be perfect, we don't need to be that impressive, and our journey alone, the fact that you're like getting out there and taking messy action, like that in itself is impressive, honestly. Like, it's like you're out there doing it. Like, you're out there actually taking steps forward and doing it. It doesn't matter what they look like. You're actually like going after what you want and going after your dreams.
Yeah. And you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, which is truly like people, probably everyone who's listening to this knows and has heard this before. Like, growth only happens outside of your comfort zone. So if you have
Right.
a goal, if you have a dream for your whatever it is, like, to stay in your comfort zone is, like you said, Chris, like a protection that your brain is telling you. Like, if there's a threat surrounding like what that call to action might be in your head, like, I need to do this for my business, like I need to announce that I'm having a business, like, your brain is presenting a threat to protect you. And you can say, thank you, brain. Thank you so much. Like, you're doing your job. And that's not a threat. And we're going to be okay. And we're going to build new trust with ourselves that we don't need to be liked by everyone. And we don't need everyone to approve of what we're doing. And we don't need to show up without flaws to be accepted, whatever that like, yeah, lie is that probably formed from an early age. Your brain is just protecting you. And that's like, you can think it and then like still move on from it. Because with business, especially, I know we keep talking about business because, well, we're going to do that a lot on this podcast. Like, there's so much rewiring that like gets to
Yeah.
happen. And I think to have the perspective of like, I get to help myself grow. I get to rewire some of these neural pathways that like have been formed from an early age, that's going to develop me and grow me and mature me. And I'm going to evolve and become a better person. That's so cool. Like, that's such a beautiful opportunity that I think business specifically gets people to do, that like not a lot of other opportunities always present with. And so get comfortable in some funny way, like to get uncomfortable. Like, that's
Yeah.
where so much growth and like result comes from. And often it just boils down to messy action. And I think it's like, I kind of like that phrase that we keep using because it gives people permission to let down their hair and like
Wait,
not
what phrase? Messy
messy
action?
action. I just didn't
Oh,
want to say
okay.
it again because we said
I like
40
that phrase. I was like, wait, are we using a different phrase?
No, it's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think it takes off this pressure, and you're relatable, and like people, like we said, they love to see the growth. I mean, the growth that I have from being a photographer, like, is comical. Like, it's so crazy. Like, the
To
things that
look at
I
photos, like the first photos, the
yes,
first
and just, like,
wedding you shot.
how I was running my business and, like, pricing myself and, like, all of that is so funny. But I love that girl who in 2015 shot her first wedding with, like,
Yeah.
very, very little understanding of what I was doing. Like, I love her for being brave. And oh my gosh.
Oh, let it flow.
Well, it's just, like, so cool. Oh my gosh, I hate that I'm crying
I
about this. It's so
love that
dumb.
you're crying. Keep it coming.
Well, it's like I wouldn't have met you if I wasn't brave in, like, photography, you know? Like, that's crazy. You stop, Ash.
Whoa. Well,
You
like,
know?
you know, that's the point. Like, that's what happens. Like, what are the doors that open up because, like, you took those steps? Like,
Yeah, like, you literally have no idea. I've met
yeah.
some of the literal best people in my life, like, because she was, like, brave and bold and cared a lot what people thought, but, like, did it anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh,
shoot.
man. Well, shooter. Wow, wow, wow.
Okay,
Oh,
should we wrap this up?
yeah. I have one more thing though, like a thought in
Okay.
my head that feels really kind of vulnerable to share because I feel like
Ooh,
it it's I'm really letting you into the inner dialogue that happens in my head,
what is
which is
it?
like ego and inner critic. Like it involves both ego and inner critic. So here we
Mm,
go. I sometimes will see a project or it could even just be like someone's personal brand. I'm watching someone's Instagram stories or like a business someone launched, a podcast someone launched, whatever. And because I am a perfectionist and I also have like honestly I do just have a lot of random like creative skills and blah blah blah. I this is the ego side of me like could look at something someone's doing and I have a thought that I could do it better. Like and I do think that. Like and I know and I'm that's not like a pretty part of myself necessarily. That's like shadow, but like that's a thought that I have in my head. And then like an inner critic responds, but you're not even doing it.
mm,
So like it's like this it doesn't matter like you could look at like things other people are doing and I think that ego piece I could do that better is a protection piece that says like it puts that other person down. It puts that like goodness that the other person is
yeah,
bringing into the world down
right.
for to protect myself, which right like that's where that thought's coming from. But what it really does is like it makes me feel better about myself because I could do it better, which like that's not obviously a thought that I want. Like these are thoughts that I'm like rewiring and I become aware of them. But then that inner critic part that says like, well, you're not even doing it, while that inner critic piece is saying it in an unkind way, I actually think like what is being said in that response actually holds a lot of value. Like I'm speaking it to myself in shame or kind of like my own inner mean girl, which that's not like the constant loop in my head. But again, that's why I'm saying these are very raw thoughts I'm sharing with you
Yeah,
guys. But like again what the inner critic is saying, well you're not doing it, it's like that is the point of messy action. It's like that person's out there actually doing it, like
yeah,
and like good for them, like they're out there like doing their podcast and doing their business and starting their network marketing business and starting their website and blah blah all the things, and they're doing it and like
mhm,
that should be so celebrated. And it doesn't matter like people being brave and going after what they want like should be so celebrated because they're doing it. They're doing the steps. They're just taking those steps no matter how messy or perfect they are. They're just taking them and that's really what it's all about.
yeah. And you don't want your confidence to come from that, like, ego that's like, "Well, you could do this
Right.
better." It's like, that's not
No.
we want it
That's
from building trust with, like, doing what you say you're gonna do and embracing the process and enjoying the journey and, like, letting yourself evolve. Like, that's where your confidence gets to grow. I'm confident in where I'm at as a business owner because I had such a, like, weird like, at the beginning of all of my business things were not well developed and really well thought through, and I was, like, copying other people because I didn't know what else to do, um, and so now it's just like you are going to grow and evolve that confidence and like through your own experience. Like that's truly
Right.
what I think is so cool is you're going to like yourself and you're going to feel more confident and try new things more often. And like that's just a bet. I just think like when viewing your life through that lens, like that's just more fun. It's like more, I just want that for everybody, you know?
Right. It's just seriously so much more freedom. Like literally every time either of us has said anything this last hour, I'm just like, "Ah, that feels better. Like
Yeah.
that feels better than freaking out and needing it to be perfect and like having such a strict schedule or a strict anything. Like it just feels better to go with the flow and be a little messy
And let yourself be human.
and be human and allow yourself the journey and allow yourself the growth. We've been doing this funny thing where whenever we kind of like start to become a little perfectionisty or like start to get this like kind of grand idea that's just extremely unnecessary for like our launching episodes or something, we're like, that's a season 2 thing.
Season
Like
2.
that's a season 3 thing. And like what freedom that is to say like,
Mhm.
I get to that later. I get to grow to that point later. There's journey ahead. If you launch something perfect, like where's your journey ahead? Like you're done. Like,
Mhm.
and so it also gives you something to look forward to in your own journey because now I'm like, yeah, we are going to put some things off like that maybe tie our podcast in a neater bow, like off until season 2 or 3. And that's exciting. I'm like, oh, that's going to be fun when we like get to do those things. Like when we get to do a brand shoot, when we get to XYZ.
Yeah.
So
I want like I think it'd be cool if people like if you're listening to this and you're like, "Oh shoot, I know exactly what my messy action needs to be." Like
oh
tell
yeah.
us. Like I think you should
Yeah,
DM
we
us
want to
like
hear.
let us in and I think also telling someone what it is that you need to do or want to do like is so valuable because it gets it out of your head and like onto paper or like in a text or someone else like knows that information and can hold you accountable if like that's something you need. But we would love to know, like DM us and let us in because we want to celebrate you even acknowledging like what it is that you have like set ahead for yourself. And you know,
We'll cheer
it's
you on.
just we want to cheer you on. So
Yeah.
LOL that we always think we're going to record for like 30-40 minutes.
It's 52 minutes. Thanks for listening if you got it this far. Also, we would love, 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 love if you would leave a review for this podcast. If this is an episode you enjoyed, got something out of, share with your friends, share with your family, share with the gram.
Yes, please.
Subscribe, follow, press all those fun buttons.
Leave us 5 stars if those are something that I don't know. I think you can
it's
rate
stars.
yeah.
I think it's stars.
Give us 5. We would love 5.
We love 5 stars.
We
It's just
I was gonna make a joke like we need 5 because we're perfectionists, but we just
you
want
can make
5.
the joke.
It wasn't that good of a joke.
I know it wasn't, but I was gonna make you feel like it was and laugh really
I
loud.
appreciate that. Okay, we love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.